What you're listening to there is 27 pupils from Friarage School in Scarborough's Old Town, recorded more than 50 years ago. It's been cleaned up from the original recording, made in 1953, and finding it again was a labour of love for Colin Reedie.
It's a trip down memory lane. People put things off and put things off. And I thought, well, I'm going to try and find some of these people. Derek Hall was one of them. And I knew I could get hold of Tony Bernard, I knew I could get hold of Peter Newstead, so I carried on from them. One thing led to another, and I finished up ringing Pete Cousins in Bath, and I rang Freddie Downey in Antwerp, and my wife's going mad about the telephone bill, but that can't be helped, can it?
Leslie Burtonshaw was Colin's teacher at the time, and he played piano on the recording.
Well, it was my first teaching post, you see, and I came straight from Bretton Hall to that post. I was from Sussex, and I only chose Scarborough because my parents had come to Scarborough holidays and they liked it, you see. I remember arriving down here and waiting for the interview, and somebody popped their head through the door and he says, "You know you're the only candidate, don't you?" I was the youngest on the staff by quite a long way. You couldn't afford to be inefficient, let's put it that way. You had to know what you were doing and do it and get on with it and demand good standards.
The recording was made following the choir's successful win at the Eskdale Festival in Whitby that year. And the passing of time can play tricks on people's memories, says Mr. Reedie, who found some of his former schoolmates' versions of events differed considerably in one case.
Brian Johnson, who was a soloist on the day, he seems to think we went by train. Most of the blokes I've spoke to seem to think we went by coach. But Brian has got it wrote down, the time and the place and when he went. It was a bit of a big day to go by coach to Whitby in 1953. There was about 4 cars we passed on the way there. Douglas Cawood, he was in the choir. He said the only thing I can remember about it is Burton Mills Circus or on the car park at Burniston Barracks. Nothing about the music, nothing about the teacher, nothing about the coach trip or the train.
For Leslie Burtonshaw, who's now 76, listening to the piece again made him reflect on the way education's changed in half a century.
It was a very nice gang of lads. Sometimes during the day you'd have some lessons that wouldn't go very well. I had to teach music, RE, some maths, and all the technical drawing in the school. And I'm quite happy about that, but some of the RE lessons were jolly difficult. And there was a Form 4. There were some real difficult kids. Again, it wasn't tough in some of the day standards, and the kids weren't cheeky like they are now. You'd have some rough moments during the day, or difficult ones, and it was nice too, at the end of the day, 3:45 choir or 4:45 band or whatever, you'd look forward to that and have a good session teaching some songs or something to a group of lads who were keen to do it.
The reunion's to be held at the Mayfield Hotel in Seamer next Friday, and both men are hoping that all but the few choir members who are no longer alive will be there to sing once again.
I think what's going to be the colour of the occasion is the fact that they're not just looking back to the choir and so on, but this is kind of a focus of it, but it's the whole thing. I think that school did a good job. I think somehow it set those boys up for life.
The Green Hills of England, sung by the Friarage Choir from the class of '53.